Hello guys, welcome to this video tutorial. In this particular tutorial today, we are going to discuss the process of automating web scraping using Python. So Python can be used to automate the web scraping actions. So in case if you don't know what web scraping is all about, web scraping is just a process of extracting data from a web page. Alright, so instead of going to a web page to do copy and paste, maybe you want a particular data from a web page or a website page. So instead of going to that website, copying this data, copy and paste, then Python can actually help you to scrape this website, extract this data from the website. So the process of extracting data from a website is what is called web scraping. So web scraping can actually be done with Python. So we are carrying out this project with Python. So what we are going to do in this particular project is to automate these web scraping actions by making use of Python programming language. All right. So in this case, what we are going to do here is to extract data from any website at all, from any web page at all. So as far as you have the URL of that particular web page, then you can extract basically any data from that particular website. So that is what we are going to do in this project today. So we actually extract data from any website of your choice. Just pass the URL of that particular website, then you scrape your data using Python. So in this case, we are going to divide this project into different parts. The first thing we are going to do is to actually create our Python script that can help us to scrape the website or any web page of our choice. So you can scrape any web page, for instance, BBC web page or website. You can scrape any website you can think of. So you are not limited in this case. So as far as you provide the URL of that particular website, then you can scrape it using our Python script. So and the tool we are going to use here, the package we are going to use in this extracting of data from website or the web scraping is the Beautiful Soup. So the Beautiful Soup is what we use to extract data from our website or from any web page of our choice by utilizing Python. So after we have done this, after creating the script, and if we succeed in scraping the website, then the next thing that we are going to do is to send the content of whatever we extracted, the information or the data we extracted from this website. We have to send it via an email SMTP to any email address of our choice. So you may say, okay, I want to be extracting data from a particular website. Maybe every 12 hours, I will extract this data and send it to my email because probably I love reading articles from this website. So what I'm going to do is in this my Python script, I'll write a script that every 12 hours, this script will send an email to the email address I provided. So, and in that case, I can get the information or the data I want from that particular website. So instead of every time I go to the web page to check out the information, so why not use a script to send this data from that particular website to our email by using web scraping techniques and automating the script using Python. Then after we have succeeded in sending the email, so we want a situation whereby this script will be run automatically. We don't want to be executing the Python script every time on the terminal or on the editor we use to code this particular script. We want the script to be executed automatically every now and then. So you just have to specify the interval or the particular time that you want this script to be executed. For instance, if I want this particular scraping to be done every 12 hours or let's say every day, then I will specify the time that I want the script to be run, and I want the content of the script website to be sent to my email. So in that case, for this to happen, we are going to host our script online, and we are going to use AWS platform to host our script. All right, so once this is done, so we can actually say that we have automated our script, because we will be sleeping and our script will be running. All right, so that is the essence of hosting your script online. You don't need to manually execute your script again. So all you just have to do in this case is to host this script online. You can use any hosting platform, but in this particular project, we will make use of AWS platform. So even if you are sleeping, or even if you are in the office or anywhere, your script can actually run as you provided the time interval. All right, so this is what we are going to do on this particular project. So let's go and start the project, the coding aspect of the script. In this particular case here, we are going to start our coding. So for us to actually actualize this particular code, there is something that we need to do. There are packages that we actually need to do. All right, so we need to import some packages that will be needed to execute this particular script. So because without these packages, we cannot scrape this particular website. So first and foremost, we have to decide the website that we want to scrape. That is the number one thing to do. Which website do I want to scrape? I want to scrape a website known as TechCrunch. So TechCrunch is a popular website where they publish articles relating to technologies, new technologies, anything that has to do with technology. So you can find this information on TechCrunch. I like reading articles related to technologies. If you like reading articles related to technology, it's okay. I want every 12 p.m. of every day, I want to get information or the latest news on TechCrunch. It is not limited to TechCrunch, so you can actually decide on any website that you want to scrape. So basically, these are just the same thing. The same techniques can be used to scrape any website. So just follow through. But in this particular website, I'm going to actually scrape the TechCrunch website. So that is basically what we are going to do in this case. So let's start our coding. So in this case, this code is to scrape the TechCrunch website and send emails. We'll be sending emails. We send emails at intervals to our desired email address. So that is the essence. I'm just writing this comment so that you know what we are doing in this particular project. We are scraping the TechCrunch website, then we send emails at interval to any email address we will be providing. Now, for us to actually carry out this particular project, there are some packages that we need to import that can actually help us to carry out this web scraping. So we are importing packages here. All these things are just comments I'm writing so that you know. So the packages we need include request. So request is what we use to get response from the web page. So we need to import a package known as request. All right. So, but for you to import request, you need to install it. All right, you need to install it on your machine, on the machine that you are using to code your script. So if you have not installed request, so simply go to your CLI, the CLI of your machine, then pick 3, install request. As simple as that, and everything will be installed. So once it is installed, you can now import the request. You can use the request in this case. So I'm going to import a request because we're making use of request in this our project. So we import request. Then the next thing we are going to do here is to import what is called SMTP lib. So the SMTP lib is what we'll be using to send the email to the given email address. So here we are going to import it. So don't worry, this comes with Python. So we said import SMTP lib. As you can see there, import SMTP lib. Then, since we said initially that we're making use of Beautiful Soup, Beautiful Soup is a package we'll be using to process the content that is coming from that website we'll be scraping. So we need to import the Beautiful Soup package. So, and also before you use Beautiful Soup, you're supposed to have installed that on the machine you are using to write this code, or where you are executing this particular script. So if you don't have Beautiful Soup installed, simply go to your CLI also pip3 install Beautiful Soup. So once Beautiful Soup has been installed on your machine, then you have to import it. So how am I going to import Beautiful Soup? So what I'm going to do is from BS4, as you can see suggested there, from BS4 import Beautiful, we are going to import Beautiful Soup. All right, you can see it like this: import Beautiful Soup. Then the next thing we'll be making use of in this project is what is called the email.mime.multipart. So this is what we'll be using to create the email message that we use to send the content of the script website to the given email address. So we have to import that too, and this also comes with Python, so there's no need to worry about that. So I'll just say from email.mime, all right, so dot multipart. So dot multipart, we'll be making use of this multipart here to create the email message, import mime multipart, as you can see it from here. So another thing we need is the mime test. So we can just say again from email.mime.test import mime test. All right, so the last package we need here to import is the datetime. So I'll tell you the reason why we're making use of this datetime here. The reason why we were making use of this datetime is, okay, anytime we scrape the website, we need to specify the date that the website was scraped for us. So if this website was scraped probably on the 2nd of the particular month, so it has to tell us, okay, this particular website was scraped on the 2nd of the month and also the year. All right, so in that case, for us to do this, we need to import it this time. I will say import date time. So we have imported our date time. Then let's get the current date time. What we're going to do here is, okay, you can say now the current date time here is going to be equals to datetime dot now. So this particular thing here is actually grabbing the current date time, So this is how you can create the variable. Then after that, I'm going to create a global variable where I'll be storing my content, the content of the file. I can say, okay, content is going to be, let it be an empty variable now, because we'll be concatenating the content of our website to this content after scraping. All right, so let it be an empty string now, as we'll be concatenating the content of our website, or the website we scraped from this particular from the content of the website we scraped to that content that I have declared there. Then after that, I'm writing a function that can help us to scrape this particular website. I'll write a function. So in this case, I can say def, then web scrape is going to be my function name. So you can give the function name any name at all. So it's not must that you use the one I'm using here. So we pass in URL. All right, we pass in URL here. So dev web scrape URL. So because we'll be passing the URL of that particular website we are scraping, in this case the TechCrunch website, the page will be passing the URL to that particular function. Then after that, I will also create another variable In this case, I'm just going to make it an empty variable for now because I will still be concatenating the output to that particular variable. Then the next thing now is to get the response of the request command from that particular web page and store it on a variable. So I can store it in a variable called probably, I guess, okay, the response that is coming from this particular web page is this. How do I get the response? I'm going to send a request to that particular web page. So how do you do that? The request that we have imported before, which is request dot get, all right, then pass the URL of that website, in this case TechCrunch. We are going to pass the URL, all right. Then the request that is coming from this particular URL, will be stored here, all right. It will be stored in this particular response. Then after it has been stored in the response, then we want to get the content of this response. The content, whatever that is coming from that website, the content, we have to get it from this response variable. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, okay, the URL content, that is the content, I just get a variable. You can call it any name of your choice, but in this case, the URL content is equals to, just call this particular variable here. It has a method called content. So with that method called content, we are getting the content of this response and storing it on this variable called URL content. So in this case, I will just say response dot content. Can you see that? Response of content. So this is actually getting the content of this response, whatever that's coming from that URL. In this case, TechCrunch, store it on the response. Then we are getting the content from this response by saying response.content. All right. Then now that we have the content of that URL, it's stored in our URL content. Then we need to use Beautiful Soup to prettify. We need to use the Beautiful Soup to process that content we have obtained and stored on the URL content variable. So what am I going to do? I can just simply create another variable called soup. Then what I'm going to do here is to pass the Beautiful Soup. Remember, we have imported Beautiful Soup before. You can see from my book, we say from BS4 import Beautiful Soup. Now pass the Beautiful Soup. Then Beautiful Soup is going to take two parameters here. So one of the parameters is going to take is the content we want to process. Remember that content has been stored on URL content. I'll just specify URL content, as you can see here, comma. Then the method of processing it is we're going to use HTML parser. That is how we want to pass the content by using HTML parser. You can see HTML dot parser. All right. So we use HTML dot parser to pass this particular content of the Beautiful Soup. Then after that, what happened is this: the Beautiful Soup has processed this content, prettify it, then and store it on this variable called soup. So this will be like a list of content, different content is now on this particular soup variables. So for us to get individual content, then we need to iterate through this particular variable here. We need to iterate through the list here by using for loop. So we use for loop to iterate through everything here. All right. So for us to do that, what I'm just going to do here is say for I. So you can give any name of your choice, maybe whatever is coming from there. You can say content, that is individual content or each content. Okay, let's just say each content. For I, each content in enumerate, because we are iterating, enumerate. Then the next thing we are going to do here is to pass this soup variable here and find all. All right, we are finding all. Just say soup dot find all. Then find all. What are we finding? That is the question. What are we finding in this case? Now, what we are going to find here is this. So what we're going to find here is, let's come to the TechCrunch website here. If you come to the TechCrunch website, you are going to see this is the TechCrunch website. As you can see here, TechCrunch.com. So what actually are we finding for? What do we want to scrape? Do we want to scrape this thing? Do you want to scrape this thing? Do you want to scrape this thing? So the choice of what to scrape is what determines what you are going to find, all right, on that particular script. All right. So what do we want to scrape? For me, what I want to scrape is going to be this latest news here. Everything here, like here, Elon Musk SpaceX statue. So as I will scrape everything here, because what interests me now is title of the title of the post is what determines if I'm going to read it or not. So I'm just going to scrape everything about this latest news here, scrape here, scrape here, scrape everything here, scrape here. So the one that interests me, once it is sent to my email, the one that interests me, I will click on the link and it will just take me to that particular post and I will read it. So what I'm going to do here, for us to check how to scrape this particular website, then right click on the web page that you want to scrape. I'll right click here, all right, then click inspect. Click inspect, just click inspect. Then if you hover your mouse here, you are going to see how all these things are changing, how all these things are moving. All right, so now let's just go somewhere here. If we expand this particular, let's expand here. If we expand this particular H2 tag, let's just expand it so I understand what I'm saying. If we expand here, remember anywhere you click, if you click here, you can see. So these are the different things here. Just go here, you go up, you can see how it is changing. Wherever you hover, it is changing, all right? Everything is changing, everything is changing. So now you can get to see this trend. Look at here. I hope you can see here. If you check this, you can see that these are just the titles of what we are looking for. All right, these are the titles of what we are actually looking for. So this particular title here is found under the H2 tag. Then within the H2 tag of this HTML page, then you can see it under the anchor tag. Under the anchor tag, within the anchor tag, we get the title. So that means as we are searching the soup using find all, what are we finding on this particular website? Where our interest is to get a title, and the title that we want to get is under the anchor tag. That is the A tag here. As you can see, it is under the A tag. So what I'm going to do here is actually I'm finding the anchor tag A that has a class known as post block title link. All right. So find all the anchor tag A that has the post block title as the class. I hope you have understood what we want to do now. So basically, this is how the structure of the website is. Every title of the post is found under the anchor tag. If you proceed down, you can see that that is how it is repeated. So just find all the anchor tag. Why I'm explaining this is because on our scripts that we have been writing, we just said, okay, soup.findAll, and we started asking ourselves, what are we actually finding on the website? So, and when we come to the website, we are actually looking for the title of the post, on the latest post, the title of the post, that is what we want to get. And when I right click on inspect element, I can see that those titles can be found under the anchor tag that has the class post block title link. All right, so having known this, I'm just going to go back to our code. So go back to our code and we are saying, okay, find soup.findAll. What are we finding? As we said before, we are finding the anchor tag A. Then this anchor tag A has the attributes. It has the attributes attribute, what is the attribute of that anchor tag? The attribute is something like the class given to the HTML tag or the HTML element, in this case the anchor tag. As we saw before, it has the class known as post block underscore title underscore link. That is the class of that anchor tag. So in this case, the attribute we are going to specify is going to be like a dictionary. So I'll just write this. Okay, so now specify the class, because we need to tell it the kind of anchor tag we are looking for. The anchor tag we are looking for, A, is the one that has the attribute of class equals to post block underscore title underscore link. All right, so in this case I will specify the attribute which is class here, and that attribute, and the attribute in this case is going to have the class, that is the class here is going to have the class name known as post hyphen block, all right, then underscore title, then underscore link. So in order to not to doubt this, so we go back to this place, you can see it here, post hyphen block underscore title underscore link. So that is the attribute we are using. The attribute is the class, then the class name is post hyphen block underscore title underscore link. So that is the attribute of the anchor tag we'll be searching for. So every other anchor tag we are not interested. Alright, so the only anchor tag we are interested in is the one that has this class name post hyphen block underscore title underscore link. So that is what we are actually looking for. So I will go back to our script and continue. So we are saying, okay, for I, each content in enrate soup.find all, find every anchor tag that has the attribute of class that is equals to post hyphen block underscore title underscore link. All right, so once we have done this, then we iterate through this loop. All right, so we iterate our loop in this case. And then the next thing I'm going to do here is to store this variable. Remember, there is an empty variable we have declared here before. So each of the content of this find here will be attaching it to this web content string variable. So in this case, I'm just going to say web underscore content. Then here we say plus equals to. So we're just attaching everything here. Sorry. So equals to. Then the next thing we are going to do here is to specify the way our web content is going to look like. For me, I want to count the number of content that I'm getting from this particular soup here. As I use find all option, I want to count it. So for me to do this, all I'm going to do here is this. You can just come here and say, okay, string, convert the I value, convert the I. You know that this particular I that we are iterating here, this I here, each content. So we are going to, this I is just like the number of iteration, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to the number of posts that we have there. So we are going to iterate through each of them one after the other. So in this case, I'll just say I, then plus 1. Remember, iteration starts from 0. I don't want to say, okay, 0 post. So that is why I'm incrementing this by 1. So in this case, we have plus 1, I plus 1. Then the next thing we are going to do here is to probably concatenate after the number of posts. Like I said, okay, post 1, I want to give a space. All right, I want to give something of this nature. You can give anything, you can use underscore, you can use anything that you want. So I'll just give this space here. All right, then concatenate this again. What I'm going to do is to now concatenate an anchor tag. I want to concatenate an anchor tag to this particular post, so that if you click the link on our email, we can actually go to the TechCrunch website. All right, so what I'm going to do here is to actually get the anchor tag. All right, anchor tag just specify a here, the anchor tag, and is going to have a href a poster. Then here we have this href. Then the website's name is just going to be https. Sorry. Don't worry. Later we can specify the link there. But just know that I'm just specifying the anchor tag here so that once someone clicks on the link, the person can be taken to the TechCrunch website. So in this particular case, then after this, then the next thing you are going to do here is to come out and concatenate. We're going to concatenate the content of our website. All right. So remember here we are saying for each I in each content. So I'm going to make use of each content now. So I'll now say okay, each content should be converted to text. All right, we convert it to text. Then after converting it to text, the next thing we are going to do here is to use the anchor tag, close the anchor tag that we have. So I'm going to close our anchor tag. So in this case we have this. We are closing our anchor tag. Then after closing the anchor tag, then the next thing we are going to do is okay, we want to break this line. So for us to break this line, the line here, so all we are going to do in this case is just concatenate. Sorry, my keyboard is bad. So in this case, all we are going to do is to concatenate the break line statement. All right, so in this case we just put this n, so that means we are breaking the line. All right, then after that I'm just going to say we are just saying okay, give us new line. Then here can actually concatenate this guy. Can give this br. Forgive my keyboard, it's bad. So here we have this. Then after this we can actually okay, I want to underline it. I want to underline after every iteration. I just want to give an underline there. So in this case I'll specify HR tag. Okay, so specify our HR tag, then specify our HR tag, and that's all for this particular thing here. All right, so after this, all we are going to do after completing this particular thing here, we want to return the web content. Remember, because everything here has been attached to this particular variable web content, which is a string variable. So here we are returning this particular thing, web content here. Everything on this web content, we are returning it on this function. So I'm just going to come here and say okay, return web. We're just going to say okay, return web content. All right, we return our web content. Then the next thing we are going to do here is to call our function. We want to call our function and make use of our function. So for us to make use of our function, I can say okay, cmt or content, whatever content that we are using. I can say okay, content here, call the function name. I'm testing this function for a second. Content test, testing the function. So I'll just call the name of my function web script and pass the URL. All right, because when we define the function, we say okay, we have to pass a URL to this particular function. All right, so in this case, we need to pass the URL of this particular website that we want to scrape. So I'll have to go to TechCrunch here and copy the link, the URL of this particular website. Then I'll come back here and paste it here. All right, so here let's also paste the URL here and paste the URL here. All right, so this is what we have here right now. So now after this function has been run, then the output of this function, which is this web content, will be stored on this CMT test. Then we are concatenating it to this particular content, global content variable that we declared initially. So I'll just come down here and say, okay, that content plus equals to, then attach your CNT test. All right, attach your CNT test. So we are attaching this content here, whatever that we have on this variable, we are giving this to this content, everything here. So in this case, before we proceed to write a script that can send the email, what I'm going to do here is to check if the code, the scripting is actually working fine. So we need to check if it is working fine. I want to print out the content. I say, okay, print content. I want to check if it is working. Then after printing the content, I can just say, okay, print. Let's print something like this, signifying the end of the message. This is just, I want to test if this is actually working before we can proceed to write a script that can send the email. So in this case, I will write, okay, end of the content. So if this script runs successfully, then we know that, okay, this our code actually works perfectly fine. So I'm going to actually run this main, run it. Let's see. You can see that is working perfectly fine now. You can see a bunch of information that here. You can see, for instance, this particular one, we are getting, can an AI be properly considered an investor? This is just one of the things there. Then the first one here, can you see Elon Musk SpaceX Starship event leaves a lot of questions around the company Big Rocket. So let's go back to that TechCrunch website to see if you can see Elon Musk SpaceX Starship. Let's just go there and verify. Can you see that? Elon Musk SpaceX. So you can see that. Then you can see different other things here. So you can see that our code is working perfectly fine. All right, our code is actually working perfectly fine in this case. So another thing we are going to do here is, since we have actually verified that the code is working perfectly fine, then I can just delete this particular thing, because this was just to test if our code was running very fine. Then the next thing I'm going to do here is to actually create the message that I'm going to use to send this particular email. All right, I want to create the message to send this particular email. So I'm going to create the message to send the email containing this content. There are some things that you need to note. So there are some variables that we need to declare, which we'll be using. One, we need to specify the kind of SMTP we'll be making use of in sending this email. Here we are going to use just Google email accounts to send this email. So based on that, I'm going to say, okay, like server, the server that we are going to be using, server is just a variable. You can call it any name of your choice. So in this case, we can actually call it smtp.gmail.com. So this is the SMTP server I'll be making use of, Gmail. Then Gmail has the ports. So the SMTP for this Gmail has a port is equals to 587. That is the port that this particular server makes use of, 587. Then the next variable that we're going to specify is the email address that we'll be using, to send this particular content to any other email address. So from, then specify the variable to which email address are you sending it to. All right, then after specifying that, specify the password of the email address we'll be using to send. That is the password of this from. Here, specify the password. In this case, I can just call it, okay, password. So in this case, password, you can specify the password. All right, so then this is what we need. Now for us to do this, I have created just a test email address we'll be making use of to send this email. All right, I've just created a test email address. So let's go to the test email account, the test email account I created for this project, so that we can use it and test our code. So I will go to this. These are the email address I have created in this case. All right. So and I've actually created a password for it also. So in that case, but before we start to do this, all we are going to do here is come to the security in your own email address. This one is just a test account. All right. This is not my email address. It's just a test account. Come to security here. You come to security. Just go, move down. You can see here, let's secure app access. We need to turn it on for us to make use of this email address to send this particular script email to another email address. We need to turn it on because we are not using two-factor authentication. So we need to turn this guy on. So turn on in this case. So allows less secure app. It is off now, but I need to turn it on. If you don't do this, it's not going to work on your own. So if you have already in your email address that you're going to use, if you have multi-factor authentication, then you can't do this. So all you have to do is to create what is called an app password. App password. You create your app password and make use of that app password instead of your Gmail password when sending this. So since I have turned this guy on here, then I can use this guy for whatever that we are going to make use of. All right. So that is just it, and this email address here is called Tech Magic. All right. So I'll just copy this guy here. Copy all these things are just test email address. So I'll copy that and go back to our code here. We are sending from this guy here, techmagic1234@gmail.com. All right, then we are sending this to which email address? So I want to send this. So there is another test account I created here. So here you can see it here. So I will just copy this one. This one is test magic test. So go back to our code and pass that email address here. Pass the email address here. Then the password that I created for this, I think the password should be tech magic 1234 is just a test account, so there's nothing to fear about the security. So tech magic 1234. Then in this case, I think I use AB hash. Yep. So this is just what I used for this credential. I'm just showing you how to do this by using this test account so that everything will be fine. Okay, so after you have specified the parameters you'll be needing, the next thing to do is to create the message body. We need to configure the message body, how the message will be sent. All right, so in this case, I say okay, create the message body using the multi-part, the MIME multi-part that we specified before, and MIME test. So we're making use of these guys to create the message body. So we just create an object variable message. You can call it message, you can call it anything. So okay, message is equals to, now specify your MIME multi-part. This is what we use to create the message body. So I can just say here MIME multi-part. You can see that. So you have created this object now. Then after creating the object, then the next thing to do here is that you are going to specify three things. One is the subject of the message. You know, if you send an email to another email, you are expected to have a subject. You are expected to have where it is coming from. All right, you're expected to have where it is coming from and where it is going to. So we have the subject, from which email address and to which email address. So because of that, I'm going to attach to this message variables the following. As you can see here, I'm just going to write message. All right, so message, then specify the subject. So subject of the email is going to be, what is the subject? What do you want to give the subject of the email? If we succeed in sending this email to another email address, then how is the person going to receive this email? So we need to specify, give this email a heading. So that is a subject. So in that case, I'm just going to say latest news from TechCrunch. Latest news from TechCrunch. So that is what I'm going to give to that email. Then I will specify. So in this case, I will concatenate. Just like, let's give it a space. All right, give a space like a empty space. Then after that, I specify the date that this email is coming in, or when this web scraping was done. So that is where we are applying the date time that we imported before. So I'm now saying, okay, this headline is coming as of, and I specify the date now. That is the date that this scraping was done, or this email was sent. But before specifying the date, I have to just give an empty string or space. So in this case, concatenate a string. All right, so you concatenate a string. Then the next thing I'm going to do here is to apply. Remember here, let's go up here. Here now we say date now, and we captured the date of today's time, that is the date now, and capture it to this variable here. So this variable here is going to have different methods, which include like date now dot day, date now dot month, date now dot year. So in that case, I'm going to specify the date that this was actually done from that date now variable. So I'm going to say date now dot day. I'll specify the day that this was done. Then the next thing I'm going to do here is to actually specify. Okay, I just concatenate it. Let's just concatenate this here, underscore. Then the next thing I'm going to do here is to concatenate our string. So here I'm concatenating date now dot month, date now dot month. All right. Then after that, what I'm going to do is to concatenate. I'm going to concatenate another underscore. All right. I'm going to concatenate another underscore here. Then before I will now concatenate the day, I mean the year. So in this case, we can say string, then concatenate the year, which is date now dot year. All right, so this is how the heading is going to be. Like, we want it to have a dynamic heading. So if this person received this email, if today is let's assume that today is 8th February, then tomorrow is going to receive it as 9th February, then the month and the year. All right, so we don't want this particular heading to be static, so we want to make it dynamic, and that is why we're incorporating all this things to specify the date and time the email was sent from the script website. All right, so this is why we are making this email headline to be actually dynamic in nature. All right, so after we have done this, then the next thing we are going to do is to now specified from where it is coming from. The email will be coming from. So in this case, I'll just say message. Then we are specifying where this is coming from. So by using this parameter from, then specify the email address. Remember, before we have said that the email address we are using is techmagic1234@gmail.com. So, and we have stored it on this variable from. So here I'm just going to use from. All right, I use from. Then the next thing I'm going to do here is to specify where it is going to. So by using a message, then specify So it is going to which email address. So here I'm specifying the variable to, because we have already put the email address that will be receiving it here. All right, we have actually specified it at this particular point. So I have TechMagic 1234, TechMagic 1234. All right, so that is what we have. Let's just confirm that. I think TechMagic test, TechMagic test. Yeah, this one should be techmagictest@gmail.com. Magic test. Okay, so let's go back and maybe change this to TechMagic test. TechMagic test. TechMagic test. I want to confirm again so that we not make like kind of mistake from here. So this is TechMagic text to the TechMagictest@gmail.com. Yeah. So that is for that. What is going to receive it. All right. Then after that, the next thing we are going to do now is to attach our message. That is after you have actually declared the subject of the message or the email from where it is coming, then where you are sending it to, then the next thing is to attach the message, and that is where the multi, so that is where the mime the test will now come into play. So what I'm going to do here is to now say message dot attach. All right, then specify your mime test. That is where it's going to come. Remember I told you that mime test and mime multipart is what is used to create the message body. So in this case I will now specify mime test. Then mime test is going to carry two parameters. Then the first parameter is the message you are sending, and remember the message you are sending has been stored on this variable called content. So I will specify the content. I'll just specify the content there, then comma. Then the next thing is going to carry is in form of what we are sending it as a HTML. All right, because of that anchor tag that we specify. So if the person receives the email, then the person can actually if the person receives the email, the person can actually do what? The person can actually click the link and it can take the person to the website. So we need to send this message as a HTML, all right, in form of HTML. Then after you have done this, then the next thing to do here is now to send. All right, then the next thing now is I'll just write a comment here, sending the email, since the email body has been created above. All right, so but before that we can say okay, print, just to tell us okay that it is preparing to send this email. We can say server loading to send the email. Then after server loading to show us okay that this guy is actually planning to send the email, we're just writing it for the sake of writing it, just to help us in our code, nothing more. Then the next thing to do here is to specify the kind of SMTP that we'll be using to send this. So for us to do that, we can just create another variable called server. So server here, we can say SMTP. That is where SMTP lib will come in. Remember we imported this package before. So SMTP lib.smtp. All right, then here you now have to specify the kind of SMTP server that we'll be using to send this. So where initially we said okay, we'll be using Gmail, smtp@gmail.com, so as our server, and the port is 587. So SMTP lib.smtp takes two arguments or parameters. So the first one is the server, that is the server that you is using to send, then the port of that server. So in that case we just use port, because all these things we have declared all these things in the variable here. Then after that has been done, the next thing to do here is we need to check if everything is going fine or if there is any error, so that we can see that on our script. So for me to do that, I need to enable debugging on the server. So to enable debugging on the server, we are going to say, okay, server dot set. We are going to set the bug. Okay, server dot set the bug level. So 1. So we are using 1 now. After everything has run fine, we are going to change 1 to 0. So this one here is just showing us everything that is happening on that server, whether the server is sending things right or if the server is not sending things right. But once we have succeeded in sending that email, then the next thing we are going to do is to actually change the 1 to 0. So 0 means, okay, we don't need to see the debugging on the server level. So all right, but for now, because we are testing the script, what we are going to do here is to set it to 1. Then after that, the next thing I'm going to do here is initializing. So here's a server.hello. All right, so that is the next thing to do here. Then after server.hello, then we need to start the TLS of that server. You can say server.start TLS. As you can see it here, we are starting the TLS. Then after the TLS has been started on the server, then the next thing we are going to do here is to actually log into the server by using server.login. So what are we using to log in? Remember, we are logging in with this from, because we are sending from this particular email account. You say server.login, specify the email you are using to log in, and we have stored that on the form variable from. Then what's the password? We have installed the password of that particular email account on the pass. Then after we have logged in, then the next thing to do, once the login is successful, the next thing to do is now to push the email to the receiver. So how do we do that? By using server.sendMail. Server.sendMail, as you can see there. So what are we sending? We are sending from to, we send it from to. All right, then the next thing we are going to do is to send the message as a string. So message dot as string. All right, so we are done. So that's all, simple as that. We are done writing this script. Then the next thing to do is, if this thing is successful, we need to print and say, okay, email has been sent successfully to the receiver. Email sent successfully to the receiver. So we are not going to see this particular code, this particular line, email sent successfully to the receiver, if there is anything that went wrong on this particular script. So there are a lot of things that can happen here that may hinder this email from being sent successfully. So one is, if the password we are using is not correct. So if the password is not correct, then it means that the code will not reach this particular point. So we are not going to receive email sent successfully to the receiver. But if we receive email sent successfully to the receiver, it simply means that our code is working fine, even though we are going to see a bunch of red messages that is showing because of this debug level 1. So in order to check if this thing is running fine, all I'm going to do is to run the script. Don't worry, don't be scared, because we are going to see bunches of red messages, warning messages, because of this debug level is set to 1. But what interests us, or what we are going to check, or what matters to us is, are we going to get this email sent successfully to the receiver? So if we get this, then it simply means that the email has been sent successfully to the receiver. Then we don't mind all those red warning messages. All right, so let's just proceed to run this now. Run. Let's see. You can see the messages I'm talking about here. All right, you can see it now. Email sent successfully to the receiver. So it means that the receiver has actually received this. So we don't care about what this particular red stuff is talking about. This was just to help us to check our debugging. So because we have received that email sent successfully to the receiver, all I'm going to do here is to actually go and turn this off by changing this 1 to 0. All right, I will change 1 to 0. So next time I run this particular script, I will not receive these bunches of warning messages here, because the debug level has been set to none or 0 on the server side. All right, so this is what is going to happen. Then I'm going to go to the text message to check if we actually receive this email. So let's proceed to check if we actually receive such email here. So I can come here now. You can come to this. Remember, we use this guy, Tech Magic Test, to test our code. So we come here, go to email. Let's go back and check and refresh. Okay, I want to change this email address. I don't know why. I don't know if I did not specify the right email address, but let's change. So wait, let's run the script again and see if we are going to get an email. So note that I used from engineermountain@gmail.com now, because this particular email address has secured password. All right. So and secondly, I have created an app password for this email account. So it makes use of two-factor authentication. So if you try using less app secured and it's not working, so I advise that you make use of two-factor authentication. And after you have actually implemented two-factor authentication with your on your email address, then go ahead and create app password. Then this app password is what you are going to use here. So here I'm using this email address now from engineermountain@gmail.com. So then let's run this script again and go and check this email address here. We're going to check our this email address, techmagictest@gmail.com. Let's see if the content of this script website, TechCrunch, has been sent to this email address. So I'm running the script again here. You run the script, so you can see server loading to send the email. Then email has been sent successful. So let's go to this particular place and you can see that it has come right now. All right, so this has come. The latest news from TechCrunch as of 12/2/2022, as of the time of recording this particular video. So why did we get latest news from TechCrunch? If you go back to our code, we are going to see that here we say, okay, in this particular place, you can see that we specified from here, like if you can see, we specified everything here, even from our message heading here. All right, from our message heading here, we say latest news from TechCrunch. Then here we appended as of, concatenated as of, then concatenated today's date, the month, and the year. So that is why if you come to this email address, we are receiving the subject as latest news from TechCrunch as of 12/2/2022. Then if I click this, I'm going to see the content of the message body. So you can see that here. So the first now is why Affirm stock is getting hit. You can see different things that we have scraped from this website. So for us to confirm this, let's go to TechCrunch website now, and you are going to see what we mean here. Let's go to TechCrunch website and confirm. You can see why Affirm stock is getting hit. So if you go back to our email account, you are going to see that same thing, why Affirm stock is getting hit. Then Elon Musk SpaceX. So go back to TechCrunch, you are going to see all these Elon Musk SpaceX. Then the next one, you can see many of them, all these things here. So you can see all this, how Texas is becoming a Bitcoin mining hub. So if you come to this place, you can see that how Texas is becoming a Bitcoin mining hub. So this is what we actually wanted to achieve in this project. So we have succeeded in scraping this particular website. So it's not limited to TechCrunch. You can scrape any website at all. You just use the format that I told you before. Right, click on the website or the web page that you want to scrape, then go to inspect, then find what you want to inspect by going to this place. As you are hovering here, you are going to see different portion being highlighted. Then just do exactly what we did in any website, then that is going to work. So that is how you can use web scraping with Python to do this. Then if you notice that, okay, another point we are going to do here is how to host this script online so that it can be running automatically on its own. All right, so that it can be running automatically on its own. So because from now, We can only run this script by executing it manually. So we can't be doing this. So the essence of this project is to automate this particular script. Yeah, we have succeeded in writing a script that can actually get information, scrape information from the website, then send this to our email. We have actually done this. Okay, but the next thing now we are going to do here is to find out how we can actually automate this script. So this will take us to the last point, which is hosting this particular script on AWS machine. All right, so if you go back to this particular web browser, you can see on my AWS here, you can see that I have an EC2 instance that is running. So you can actually sign up on AWS account, and you can create AWS account, then create EC2 instance by coming to this place, launch an EC2 instance and making use of Red Hat here. So Linux machine, in this case, you can just create yours and make sure that the status is running. Then this is my IP for now. All right, so this is my IP address. So what I'm going to do here is I want to access this particular machine, so via SSH. So I'm using Mobile 10. So in that case, I will access this guy here using mobile stem. All right, so this is my mobile stem here. So what I'm going to do, we can come to this particular place. Then let's do this. I want to log in. If you watch, this is the IP. This is the IP. So I want to log in as an EC2 user. So log in as an EC2 user. So you can see I am currently on this particular machine. All right, so let's see what I have on this machine. I've actually created a folder, a directory known as Python script. So I'm going to put my Python script. Okay, let's just create another directory. Make another directory here by using make directory script tutorial. All right, so I have created another directory here. So now we can navigate to this particular directory and maybe copy our file to this particular directory. All right, so let's navigate to that directory which I have created now. So in this case, I'll now say cd script, then I am currently on that directory. If I do ls now, you can see there is no file here. So all I'm going to do now is to actually copy our scripts, that's our Python scripts, and create a file here and host it on that particular file. Just copy the script. All right, so we are going to copy our script and look at our script here. These are the scripts that we have actually created. So I'm going to copy this particular script here, copy everything here, then you can see copy. Then I will, after I have copied this particular thing here, I will go to my mobile stem, this place, then create a file, and I use nano to create a file. So nano, I can say web script .py. So we are creating a Python file, nano web script.py. So you can see here now, all I'm going to do now is to paste my file, that is the file that I've copied from the Python script file. So just paste it here, say okay. So I've pasted that script here. All right, I've pasted the script here. Then after you have pasted it, because I'm using Nano Editor, so all I'm going to do now is press Ctrl X. You say, do you want to save this file? Press yes, that is Y on my keyboard, then press enter. So I have actually saved that Python script on this file called webscript.py under this directory script tutorial. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Then note that for Python to run on this particular machine, So you have to install Python here. All right, you have to install Python on your machine in case you create an EC2 instance on AWS. You have to actually install Python on this particular machine, then also install your beautiful soup here, then also install your request. So these things by default are not on the Linux machine once you create it from AWS EC2 instance. So you won't have all these things and our code won't run. All right, our code won't run if you don't have all these things on this particular machine. Remember, we are no longer on the local machine where we wrote this code, so this is now online on AWS. So we have to actually install beautiful soup here, then install request, and also install Python before this thing can actually work. So in that case, because I'm on CentOS, so you see sudo, let's just tell you how to do this. Sudo yum install. If I write Python 3, let's say Python 3, it's going to tell me because I have already installed Python 3 on this particular machine. Look at what is going to happen. So in this case, it's going to tell me that everything is already installed. You can see that here is already installed. Python 3 is already installed. So there is no other thing. But for you, if you create a new instance, so Python will not be there. Alright, Python 3 will not be there. So for us to execute this script, so we need to have Python on this our instance. This our machine here on AWS. So this is how to install your Python by using sudo yum install. All right, this is because I'm using our CentOS. All right, so this is how it is done. Then the next thing to do here is to actually install your beautiful soup by using the same process I used to install Python by saying sudo yum install beautiful soup, sudo yum install request. So these are the three packages you will need for this our script to actually run. So without all these things, without doing this thing I'm saying here, this our script will not run on this server even though it ran very well on our local machine. So for this thing to run, you have to install these three packages: one Python 3, install your request, and also install beautiful soup. So these three packages you need to install it on this server for our script to run. Remember, our script has actually been stored here. If I do ls now, you are going to see that we have a file called webscript.py. All right. So now, if I want to know the present working directory, pwd, I'll get the present working directory. You can see that our script is actually located at /home/ec2user /script tutorial. All right, then slash this file. This is where our script is located. So we want to know where Python 3 is actually installed because we need this kind of thing for us to. We need this where Python is installed and the directory where our file is installed for us to execute this script. So for me to know where Python is installed here, I'll do which, then Python 3. So you can see that Python 3 is installed on user bin Python 3. User bin Python 3. Alright, so this is where our Python 3 is installed. Then so for us to actually create for us to actually automate this particular process, all right, of executing the script, that is what is called cron job in Linux machine. So in Linux, that is what is called cron job. Look at what I mean here. So cron jobs, but in this case we call it cron tab. All right, so cron tab. So this is what will help you to execute script in Linux at a particular time interval. So anytime you want, it can be like after every 4 hours our script need to run, after 6 hours our script need to run, or after 2 days our script need to run. So you can use cron job to do this by executing the cron tab. All right, so this is what will happen. So in that case, remember that our Python is located at what user, all right, user bin, then Python 3, then our script that we are running is located at this particular point, home EC2 user script tutorial. So I'm just writing this. I'm not going to execute this command. I'm just showing you how the folder structure is. Then our script is located at home. Then ec2 hyphen user, um, then script tutorial script. Make sure you spell everything right. Script tutorial. Then the name of our file is webscript.py. So I'm going to copy this out because I'll be needing it. Just copy it or just cut it. Alright, so you need this particular thing here. So in this case, I can just right click like this here. You can say copy. I can copy this because I'll be needing it now. So in that case, once you have actually learned how to do this, then the next thing we are going to do here now is to actually execute the cron job so that we can automate the script. So for me to do that, remember I am in the same directory where my Python script is actually located. So in that case, just um, write cron tab -e. So in this case, we are opening the cron job page. So cron tab -e. So you can see the different scripts that I have here. These are the different scripts I actually have in this particular case. All right. So this is how this is done. So in this particular case, all I'm just need to do here is once you do this, then press I on your keyboard to bring out insert. So we have insert here. All right. Then you can come down here, then paste. Then in this case, what does all these things mean? So this first line here, this first number here stands for the number of minutes. Then this second one here stands for the number of hours. Then the third one here stands for the number of days. That is the day. Then this one stands for the month, and this one stands for the year. So let's assume that we want to execute this every 10 a.m. So if we are executing this script every 10 a.m., it means that okay, this is 0 at 10:00. That is 10 a.m. So we put 0 here, 10 o'clock, then 10, then every day. So remember, this one stands for day, month, and year. So it means every day in every month, every year, every 10 a.m. execute this script. So what does this particular one here mean? What this particular one here mean is every 8 p.m. that is 20:00 at 20:00 every day, every month, every year execute this script. Then this one means at every 6 a.m. execute this script 6 a.m. every day, every month, every year. So what does this one actually mean? This one means at every 10 p.m. that is 22 execute everything here. Every 10 p.m. every day, every month, and every year execute this particular script. So these are the scripts I've just written like this just to explain this. Alright. It's not that these scripts are running, but I just put all this thing here just to explain how it works. So since the name of our script is web script, so what I'm going to do, we want this script for now because we are testing this particular script to know if it is running. I'm going to make it to be running every minute so that you can see it with your so that you can see what is happening here. So I'm going to write it to be executing every minute. Then after that, I can change it to be running probably every 10 a.m. in the morning every day. So for now, let's make it to be running every minute. So in this case, I write star means every minute, then star every hour, then star, that is asterisk. Some people call it star, some people call it asterisk. Then asterisk, that means every month of the year, asterisk. Alright. Then post that. Remember that part that I copied before? I'll paste it now. So it's okay. You want to paste? Yes, I am pasting this right now. So we are saying that execute a script every minute every minute execute this particular script. User bin Python tree. This is where the part of your Python is located, where the Python is installed, the directory where the Python is installed on this our AWS EC2 instance machine. Then where is the script we want to execute? The script is located at home, EC2 user, script tutorial, web script. Do you understand? So once this is done, press escape on your keyboard, then shift colon, press shift colon, alright, then type WQ, then press enter. So we have actually saved this particular script. So I'm going back to that email address to see if we'll be getting email every minute, because for now I said okay, every minute please execute that script. All right, so let's go back to our email and see what is going to happen. So let's wait. So we are expected to have this to be executed every minute. So you can see now that we have gotten the first one here. So the first one here has been obtained. We have gotten it already. All right, so we have gotten it. So this we did not execute manually, rather it is being executed automatically. All right, so if after every minute now I can refresh this, if I refresh this again, I'm going to see another email being popped up. If we refresh, you see it's now 2. It's now 2. So let's wait again. After some time I will refresh. You are going to see it's going to be 3. So we are waiting every minute. We refresh, then we are going to see if this is increasing. You can see I am not running the script manually, so we are just waiting. So I'll wait for another 1 minute, then I will execute this particular script again. Another minute I will execute the script. You can see it's now 3. So you can see it's now 3 messages from this particular address. All right, so let's wait again for the final one. I want to just to confirm, okay, that this is being done automatically. As you can see, I am not executing this script manually, so the script is executing on its own. The script is executing on its own. So after another minute I will refresh this email address. You're going to see that is sending. All right, so let's just wait again for another minute, then we execute the code. We refresh the browser. So let's wait again. Let's wait. Okay, refresh. Okay, let's wait. It's not up to a minute. Okay, you can see the fourth one has entered. So all these things, you can see all this one. This is how the email is like. In this case, this is how our email is like. All right, so if you want to go to the TechCrunch website, just click here from our email. So we are here already. We can now read about Elon Musk and co. So this is how to execute your script automatically. So automation. So it's not that we are executing the script manually. So I don't want this to be I don't want this to be executed every minute. So in that case, I'm going to change my cron tab again. I'm going to change my cron tab. Change my cron tab here, then edit it. So want it for me to edit it, just press I here so that you be in start mode. So what I want this thing to be doing is that every 11 a.m. in the morning, So it should send me an email about what is happening or the latest update on TechCrunch. So in this case, I will come here and change this to April 11. All right, so this is how, once I do this, we are not going to receive any email again. This script is not going to be executed until every 11 a.m. every day, every month, every year. All right, so but in that case now, I will change this place to 0 so that it will not be executing every minute. So in this case, I'll change this place to 0. All right, so what we're going to do here now is to save it by pressing escape. All right, our keyboard, then shift colon, then WQ, then press enter. So that is it, and the script is not going to run again till every 11 a.m. every day, and the script is going to want to run. So basically, this is how to automate web scripting and hosting it on AWS. So now there is one more thing that is left. I will tell you before we end this section. So if I close this browser now, so this script may likely not run. So especially if you are hosting this on a local machine. If you are hosting this on your computer on a local machine, not AWS, just your local machine, provided that you have internet access. And you don't want a situation whereby once you close the shell, then the script will not run again. So to avoid that, then you need to have TMOS installed on that machine. Now what is called TMOS? TMOS is this TMOS. So you need to have TMOS installed. So if TMOS is installed on your machine, then just run this TMOS command, all right? Then before you run your cron tab -e. Once you run TMOS, then run cron tab -e, then it means that even if you close the shell window, this script will keep on executing, all right? So this is just basically what you need to know. If you don't have TMOS installed, you can just install TMOS like every other packages that we have been installing all this while. So this is basically what I wanted to teach you in this tutorial, and I hope that you enjoy this tutorial. If you actually enjoy this tutorial, I will be posting video like this that is well simplified every time. So what we're going to do is just to like this particular video, subscribe to this channel, and once a video like this drop, you can actually receive notification. Thank you for joining this particular tutorial session. It has been a long tutorial, but it's worth it, and I believe that we learned a lot of things. Keep on visiting this channel to get more videos like this. Thank you. Bye bye.